Welcome, everybody, to our Rotary Club this afternoon. I'm your president, Jane Klingman Scott, and today we're going to have a program from the MAISD, Muskegon Area Intermediate School District. We're going to start with a Pledge of Allegiance, a little bit of literacy, and then Bill Loxterman will give us the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Today's literacy theme is education in honor of the MAISD. Paulo Freire said, education makes sense because women and men learn that they can remake themselves and are able to take responsibility for themselves as being capable of knowing what they know and what they don't know. And another great scholar, Teddy Roosevelt, said, a man who has never gone to school may steal a freight car, but if he has a university education, he may steal the whole railroad.
Hi, everybody. Please remain standing. A little bit of history for you that I thought sounded kind of appropriate for these times. Modern Rotarians may be surprised by the bitterness of some of the early disputes about the role of Rotary in society. They expect that an organization that has always been dedicated to service will somehow live in harmony. However, organizations are made up of people, and people do not always agree. Paul Harris readily acknowledged the bitter internal disputes that occupied Rotary in its early years. These disputes were not confined to logical arguments, but sometimes involved attacks on motivations, which seems in retrospect very un-Rotary-like. However, despite their intensity, the spirit of fellowship and service shared by all of the disagreeing parties kept them talking until a compromise could be reached. That compromise involves a commitment to the multiple avenues of service that characterizes modern Rotary clubs. It also demonstrates the value of another core principle of Rotary. When people of different cultures, professions, and perspectives commit to fellowship above all else, even the most egregious differences have the possibility of resolution.
Thank you, Bill. Enjoy your dinner. We will reconvene in about 10 minutes. Introducing our guests. And we have quite a few of them. So if Myra, Amy, Samantha, Melissa, Randy, Bill, Diane, and Courtney would come up with your guest, we would start the show.
Hello all, I'm Monica Turnbull with Boys and Girls Club, and I am introducing my guest, Chloe Buzzle, the Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. My name is Samantha Scott from Preferred Employment and Living Supports, and I am introducing to you Neveteria Ray. She works at Trinity Health and assists companies interested in EAP programs. And we're also working together with our Livability Lab group this year.
Hello, Peter Wills from the City of Muskegon, and I have my colleague Sharonda Carson, who's the city's Director of Community and Neighborhood Services and interested in becoming a Rotarian. So welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Randy Lindquist, Muskegon ISD Superintendent, and I have with us Ben Kolb, our Communications Director. Everything you see on the screen today and all the videos you see is all his responsibility. So his job is to make me look good He's got a tough job, right? Oh, Ben Kolb, thank you.
Good afternoon, Courtney Perrette with Community Choice Credit Union. I work at the Norton Shores office and my guest is Ethan Lohman. He is the manager of our downtown Muskegon office and he's in the process of becoming a member.
Bring her in tight. Good afternoon, Bill from Muskegon Rescue Mission. I'd like to introduce two of my colleagues at the Rescue Mission. The newest of all of which is Alex Kirksey, who joins me in the development department. He's doing a great job. And next to him is Becky Cooey. She spent 9 years in Mexico in missions, and she is our volunteer coordinator half the time, and the other half of the time she joins Alex and I in development. Welcome, Becky and Alex.
Good afternoon. I'm Marcia Hovey Wright. My guest today is Daryl Page. Daryl was the mayor of Muskegon Heights for 2 terms back when I was state rep in the 10s, in the 20s, or 10s. And currently he has recently been elected as a fellow county commissioner representing Muskegon Heights. So Daryl Page.
Good afternoon. I'm Amy Seymour with the Harbor Hospice Foundation, and today with me is Pamela Wingard. She's our social work and counseling manager, and we're excited to hear about the MAISD today. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Jamie Hecker from Public Health Muskegon County, and today with me is Pete DeBoer from the Community Foundation. And he is a guest, but not for much longer. He has his membership application in.
Good afternoon, Diane Fleeser from Disability Network West Michigan, here with 2 of my amazing team members, Amanda Van Tubergen and Trinell Scott. Both from Disability Network West Michigan, also work with youth with disabilities for our organization. And Trinell is also the president of the school board for Muskegon Heights.
On in. Good afternoon, Rotary. Please join me in welcoming our guests from North Muskegon High School. All right, to introduce 2 of the students there is Jennifer Schultz. She is the principal at the high school.
All right, thanks everyone. Excited to introduce these 2, let them tell a little bit about themselves. It's super cool. As someone who had them as a teacher in elementary, Jack and I go way back to kindergarten, and to be here with them as their principal and great kids, I'm gonna let them talk about themselves.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jack Earn. I'm a senior at North Muskegon High School, and I play soccer and football, and I briefly ran on the cross-country team in the fall. I'm a part of Interact Club. I'm a treasurer, and I plan on going on the El Salvador trip over in the spring. I'm in the Environmental Club, and I'm in Norse United Mentor Program. Next fall, I plan on going to college in state. I'm looking at either Michigan State or Michigan. So, yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Allie Friesner and I'm in quite a few extracurriculars, so bear with me. I am in the Environmental Club at my school. I'm in the French Club. I am in Norse United, which is a mentor program. I am in Ms. Schultz's Leadership Council to help promote positive change in our school. I am vice president on the Student Council. I'm in National Honor Society. I serve on the Muskegon Youth Advisory Council. Every morning I teach French to 2nd to 4th graders. I am currently doing wrestling and I do track and field in the spring. And I also am involved in Interact, and we just did a coat drive, which I know a lot of you guys helped out with. We got 35 coats from you guys and we ended up having 85. future plans, I plan on, double majoring in secondary education and history to become a high school history teacher.
Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Danny Risley, who's over here, who is our Interact teacher and newest Rotarian. She does an awesome job supporting our students. And Kurt Babcock, our amazing superintendent, who is incredibly supportive and a Rotarian for a long time. So thanks to them.
Mention that I went to, I went to the Life Leadership Program. So.
Now, I want to know if you briefly participated in cross country. Does that mean that you ran so fast that the race was brief? Is that how that goes?
Yes,
I don't know.
yes,
Okay. We have today a presentation by the Muskegon Area Intermediate District, and Lisa Tyler will be doing the introductions.
Thank you, President Jane. I am very pleased to be able to introduce our speaker today. Randy Lindquist is a fellow Rotarian, as we all know, and as what am I currently the secretary of the board of the ISD. It has been my pleasure to know him for many years. He is the new ISD superintendent. We hired him this summer. We were very fortunate that when Dr. John Severson retired, went on to a different position with the state, and we put out applications. We had an excellent candidate right in our midst. And so Randy has been with the ISD for 15 years, working in several different roles, including Director of Technology, Director of Instructional Services, and Associate Superintendent for Academic Services. Before he came to the ISD, Randy was an elementary principal in Greenville. Interestingly, he was the principal for my cousin who was a teacher there. We found out later as we got talking. He started his education career in 1992 as a third grade teacher at Mackinac City Public Schools. And in 1994, he moved into a sixth grade teacher position, as well as assuming the duties of principal for the small school at the tender age of 23. Randy comes from a long line of educators. His mother was his kindergarten teacher. His father is a retired administrator and former superintendent in Montague, and his brother and sister both are teachers. I think there's a little love of literacy and education in that family. He's been married to Becky for 29 years, and although they don't have human children, they have 3 cats at home. In his free time, Randy is an avid golfer. Oh my gosh, he is more than, this man loves to golf. Enjoys sports and has also coached basketball for many years. My pleasure to introduce Randy Lindquist.
First adjustment, you got to do that, right? Thank you, Lisa, for that introduction. Appreciate that. I want to start with recognizing Lisa and also Kevin Donovan today, as well as Dwight, Mary, and Lee from our board, because January is School Board Appreciation Month. And I really do appreciate our board. They're very forward-thinking, dedicated to not only our programs at the ISD, but to education in the county. So I want to recognize them as school board members and thank you for your service. So I'll be giving some updates today about education, but I'm going to try to share some great things that you hopefully will take with you and help us in thinking about what education looks like in Muskegon County. And I think it's important to think about our public schools and what our public schools do, because they are the future of our nation and they are the future of Muskegon County that we're talking about. So Muskegon ISD, like Rotary, is a service organization. That's our why. We serve our local districts, we serve our community, and that's the reason why we really exist. We serve others around us in our community around education. And we're focused on 6 strategic goals in our plan. That is to positively impact student achievement, enhance public understanding of and support for public education. Maintaining a highly qualified and dynamic staff, of course, is important. Helping educators collaborate on initiatives, providing professional development programming that addresses the needs of our local districts, and then thinking about the future of education, engaging others in that conversation. Those are the 6 goals in our organization's strategic plan. I'm going to focus on one of those today, which is really important for all of you. And that is goal number 2 for us, enhancing public understanding of and support for public education. And Mark Twain says it best when I quote him saying, "Out of the public school grows the greatest of a nation." I think you could substitute that with, "Out of the Muskegon public schools grows the greatness of Muskegon County." And I'm going to focus on that greatness today and what's happening in our schools all over Muskegon County, which I know you know some of it, but I want you to know all of it. And I want you to tell the story loud and proud for Muskegon County as well. But first, I'm going to talk about some data. We'll talk about dog food. There's a connection here, I promise. So this Gallup poll shows satisfaction that people have said they have with dog food brands from several years of data here. And you'll see that top blue line shows that 80% of the people polled in the most recent 122 said they were satisfied with dog food brands. That green line represents those people that don't have dogs. The blue line represents those that do have dogs. Would that make sense that people that with dogs would maybe have a little more knowledge and a different opinion about dog food brands? It's true. I'm a cat owner. Well, my wife's the cat owner. I'm just there. I live with them, but I don't know much about dog food brands. So I would probably answer that a little differently with my lack of information and knowledge about dog food. Now, how does this connect to education? Well, that data and that graph is totally fabricated. I totally made it up. So that is not true whatsoever. Just made it up. But those lines are true. And those lines represent satisfaction with K-12 public education. The number's the same. That blue line where the satisfaction in that survey is higher is with those that have children in school. That green line is those that don't have children in school. So there's a gap. There's a gap between those that have kids in school and those that don't, and what they know about our schools and the satisfaction level of our schools based on that. And we oftentimes see in headlines, all these negative headlines on Twitter, on Facebook, in the news media, that our schools are failing. Terrible things are happening. You don't want to send your kids to public schools. And what I'm trying to talk about today is the great things that happen in Muskegon County, because those headlines aren't always true about what's happening in our public schools each and every day. Our staff and kids are working hard to become educated and think about their future careers. And so many of those headlines talk about what schools are making kids do. You know, we hear about cat litter boxes and gender transition, all those things that schools are forcing on kids. And I'm here to tell you that our schools are making our kids do incredible things in Muskegon County each and every day. And I'm going to focus on that today and make sure you understand what some of that is and what we can celebrate in Muskegon County and across the nation, honestly. So my goal today is to not only increase satisfaction levels with this audience, but ultimately close that achievement gap. So if you have more knowledge and information about our schools, maybe your satisfaction in that poll in the future would increase as well and change. So first, I'm gonna share several videos. Again, kudos to Ben and his team that helped create these. And we're only gonna show you snippets of them, not full ones, but that'll help tell the story that I want to make sure you understand. First thing I want to make sure you know is that Muskegon County schools are making our kids future focused. They're thinking about their careers. They're thinking about what they want to do. And the hard part for schools is, in many cases, they're helping prepare kids for jobs that don't even exist yet today. If you think about the rapid change in technology, when they get out of high school or into college or beyond, in trade school, whatever it is, the technology in those jobs may not exist right now as we speak. But our kids are thinking about their future, and our schools are working hard to help them think that way and think about what their future looks like. The example of I'm going to show you with this one is from Orchard View, a young lady from Orchard View, and you'll see how future focused she really is.
My name is Jordan Hernandez. I go to school at Orchard View High School. I usually wake up at 6. I pick up my younger stepbrother and take him to school before heading myself to CTC. So the CTC, or Career Tech Center, it's an off-campus school where you get to learn about more out-of-the-box careers, like I'm in computer-aided design, or there's welding and allied health and computer programming. And it's just something that your school normally wouldn't teach you that I get to go and learn at every day. All the staff are nice. The students are super nice. everyone knows why they're there, and they're there for learning and a good community. And it's opens up every single door pretty much in the book. We are in the Bowman's Club, which is my archery range. I shoot competitive S3DA compound archery. I am in first place for state. I know what I want for the future. I've always wanted to do something hands-on with my career path, and to be able to sit down and design, especially with my class, it's opened up more career options than I knew that there was for hands-on and designing. Put it simply, everything has to start at design, and that's what we're learning is design. So we are learning the start of everything.
So you have a young lady who's pretty focused on her future and thinking about what she wants to be. She even said that in that video, right? She made that statement. I was actually in that CAD class when she was in that class and saw the design of what she was making. It was incredible, just incredible what thought went into that and how she's thinking about what she'd like to do with that in the future. So our kids are definitely future focused and our schools are helping them get there. The second thing I want you to know is that Muskegon County schools are making kids thankful. We sometimes hear about kids don't care about things, they don't care about service. I was here a month ago with a panel of students that blew you all away, right? We have kids that care about our community and care about our schools and are very thankful for what they have around them in their schools and in their families. And our schools are helping them think that way about service. We heard about Interact in North Muskegon today. And we had a couple examples from that club. They think about service and others, and they're thankful for what they have around them. And so this video shows a little snippet of two of our programs at Muskegon ISD that cooperated together around a Thanksgiving event.
Today was our first Thanksgiving luncheon that we had in collaboration with our cooking program and the culinary arts program at the Career Tech Center.
Today we taught some of the Transition Center students how to prepare a Thanksgiving dinner. They helped us prepare lunch for the whole Transition Center, including the staff.
I kind of like meeting all the different people that I can serve, and I also like making the food.
It felt good. Thanksgiving, it's one of the best holidays through the year, so getting everybody together and serving the nice hot food was nice. Getting to connect with people.
The CTC, I like all of the career options that they have, how you can get hands-on experience in jobs that you think that you might be interested in and find out, hey, I really like this. This is going to help me. It helps with college.
ISD has so many amazing programs, and to have two programs that are so dynamic and unique and different come together to partner, both programs learn so many things. CTC students, our participants working together for a luncheon to be able to practice all of those skills was really, really awesome.
Just seeing people having food and being fed makes me feel good.
Thank you for my family, my friend, and my teacher, my staff.
I did boy, my dad.
It means being grateful. I have a couple of things I'm grateful is my family and probably my friends and Mr. Adam. Mr. Adam is one of my all-time favorite teachers.
So you can see that those kids are focused on service. They're thinking about others and they're thankful for what they have. And our schools help them think that way. Our schools help them think about how they can serve their own school community and their broader community at large. And so our schools are helping make that happen with students. I also want you to know that Muskegon County schools are making our kids innovative. I mentioned not knowing what the jobs of the future look like yet. Our kids have to think about that. They have to prepare themselves for those types of jobs. They have to think about how to program, code, how to fly drones. We have those things happening in schools each and every day, and they have to think through that. I judge a robotics competition every spring. It's hosted at Orchard View, or it has been in the past. It's incredible to see the robots these groups of kids create. I mean, they create it from scratch, and they make these robots toss balls in the air and drive them. It's incredible. It's incredible. So our kids are innovative because of the things they're doing in our public schools. And here's an example of that from North Muskegon.
I just moved here this summer from Florida. I really like it. It's a really great school and there's a lot of nice people here. I am in robotics class, first period. We didn't have this class or anything in Florida. I like being able to experiment and try programming, and it teaches you a lot of life skills that you're able to use in the future.
I'm Kristen Carlson, and I'm a first-year teacher here at North Muskegon Middle School High School. Super excited to be here. So I teach middle school robotics, but it's one of those classes where it's just blows my mind that what the kids can do, doing all of this programming and just really working together. It's really, really cool to see.
My name is Michael Gersweiler, and I teach the robotics class here at the middle school. By trade, I'm an electrical and computer engineer, and I have a small business and we make industrial control equipment. I started when I was in high school. A science teacher of mine told me I should enter science fairs, and actually ended up winning the Canada-wide science fair in my senior year. So I've had a lot of teachers help me out and stay after school and put in extra time, and that's really shaped how I want to give back right now. I want to do that same thing for the students today, to give them opportunities that they might not get otherwise.
So programming robots to do what the work will be in the future, that's a critical skill that kids will need, and they need to think innovatively, like you saw in that video. I also want you to know that Muskegon County Schools are helping our students feel supported. They work very hard every day to help kids get through tough issues that they have to deal with, whether it's home, family, in their peer group, whatever it might be. But we have dedicated teachers and administrators, some of them in this video you see that have graduated from the school, that want to give back and make sure kids feel supported, give that extra love and attention, even if it's simple as a hug. But our kids do feel supported in our schools, and you'll see why here in this video.
I am been a Holton person forever. I graduated from Holton. Twin daughters that graduated from Holton a couple years ago. My father graduated from Holton, and my grandparents even graduated from Holton. This is definitely my home, not just my job.
I am just extremely proud of Holton Public Schools and to have been a graduate from here. I had opportunities that I don't think I would have otherwise been afforded. We are a tight-knit family.
Those teachers, they believe that their students are their kids and they care about them and love them just as their own. They definitely are not a number here. They are a child that we know, and we know really well.
You're known here, and that feels really good to get to have that opportunity for as a kid to feel like you're important and that you've got people who care about you. But also as parents to know that they're in the hands of people who really care about almost just as much as you do as a parent.
So that's Holton, but that can be true for any school in our county in terms of how they make sure kids feel supported and loved and a part of a school family when they're there. And then lastly, I want you to know that Muskegon County Schools are making kids resilient. Our kids have lived through the last couple of years an incredible time to think about what they had to adjust to with school, home life, whatever it was, through a pandemic is incredible. And although it was hard at times for many students who need lots of supports, they're resilient and they bounce back from that. And this is a culmination of Reese-Puffer graduates speaking about that in terms of what they've gone through and how they've overcome some things to really think about their future and strongly moving forward. So this is an example of how schools are making kids resilient.
Well, guys, we did it. The journey from kindergarten to senior year is complete, and my goodness, have we seen it all. The world has changed around us in every way imaginable, and through it all, we have grown into men and women ready to change the world in our own distinct ways. It is through the things we have learned throughout our time at Reese-Puffer that shall guide us into these next unknown steps. We owe an immeasurable amount of gratitude to our family, and not just the family we go home to and call mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, sister, brother, but also the family of Reese-Puffer that we have instilled ourselves into during our time here. From the elementary school teachers who laid the foundation of our education and everything from shoe tying to multiplication tables, to the intermediate and middle school teachers who guided us through that weird phase of adolescence where a few boys had beers in 5th grade and the rest of us cowered under the towering heights of the girls in the hallway. To the high school teachers and coaches who developed us into strong men and women with all the skills and experiences needed to succeed in our next steps beyond the halls of Reese-Puffer. On behalf of the graduating class of 2021, we thank you for everything.
Appreciate where we are right now. In a beautiful stadium all lit up, with our community here to support us as we sit together with this group of people one last time. Build on this foundation. It has become evident to me that after surviving a national crisis, our class has collectively become more resilient and impervious to any obstacle thrown our way. Witnessing you all evolve and adapt to such unforeseen circumstances has not only motivated me to grow alongside you, but ensures me that as we move forward, success will be imminent. We are both the products and engineers of our environments. Reese Puffer will always be the foundation and cornerstone upon which we will all build the monuments of our futures. Whatever the world has in store for us, I know that our resilience and determination, there is not a single doubt in my mind that as we take the next steps in our futures, we will all reach great heights. After all, we are the Rockets.
Now that our high school careers are done, it may seem like the only thing we have left rattling around in our brains is a loose combination of the Pythagorean theorem, pi, and unfortunately not the tasty kind. We've also learned many more lessons than what was taught within the classroom. Most of all, we've learned what it means to be part of a community. Because when you're down, it's other people who pick you up. It's them listening to your story, even though they've heard it 100 times before. It's the relentless positivity they give you in a time of struggle that can be both incredibly irritating and incredibly necessary. It's the work that someone will put in just to see you smile. These are the things that define a community. In the end, it's love. Our Reese Puffer community has given us so many ways to embody this. When life boils down to its core, it's not about the car you drove, the house you lived in, or even the job you had, but about the connections you made. Care for each other in the mountains and in the valleys, and remember who it was that held your hand, sat by your side, and encouraged you to get where you are. So let's celebrate, and let's celebrate together, because forever and always, we are RP. Go Rockets.
So those are just a few of the stories that you may not see in headlines about what's happening in our public schools every day. And I want you to leave with that heartwarming feeling of what those kids can do and what our staffs in our schools do for those kids every day in Muskegon County. But I do have a couple asks for you. My first ask is to help us enhance public understanding of and support for public education. When you do see headlines and hear stories and hear all the chatter on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else, I want you to go to the source and ask questions about that. Our superintendents are very open to answering questions, our teachers, all of our staffs in our building. So please go to the source, ask, is that information true? Is it really true what I'm hearing? Because oftentimes it's not, or it's maybe a different version of what actually has occurred in that school. So please go to the source and ask lots of questions. Our schools are very open to that. And the second thing I'm asking you to do is to be a positive message multiplier. I want you to spread the word about these stories you heard today and others you might hear. Follow schools on Facebook, whether it's your local district or others in the county. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever your social media thing is. Make sure to follow them and then share, like, and spread the word. You can be a positive message multiplier by simply clicking a quick button while you're sitting there flicking through all your feeds, right? It's not that hard. Click that share button and tell people what's happening in Muskegon Public Schools. And if you help us do that, we can make sure that our public schools in Muskegon County are helping us become great in Muskegon County. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. But I'm sure that there are questions for you. Over here? Okay.
More of a comment than a question. You said a couple of things that were, I think, both relevant and responsive to the needs of employers. And that's to really help support students who are not only looking for four-year education after high school, but also those that are looking for careers in skilled trades and in occupational careers. Can you speak just a little bit more about what Muskegon County Schools are doing to help support those students? Thank you.
Sure. I can tell you our schools are very focused on work-based learning opportunities for kids. How can we get kids out into workplaces to see what certain careers and jobs are like? We actually have a group in the county called Thrive, and one of the subcommittees of that group is actually focused on just that right there. Like, how can we get more work-based learning opportunities for kids? Because it's not about putting them into that career specifically. It's about them making a decision about what they want to do and then making a plan beyond high school, because it's not always college. It's maybe a certificate program, some different track, or right into the workforce where you get trained there. So our goal is to try to help kids make a better plan for what's beyond high school based on those types of experiences.
Randy, looking at the pandemic years and K-12, is there a segment of those students that got hurt the most because of what we had to go through? And if so, what do we need to do to bring them along?
Yeah, it's a good question. A segment, I don't know. I would say those that maybe had less tools and resources at home when they had to learn from home, maybe that would be the segment to focus on. We lost a lot. When we lose in-person learning, that really had a drastic hit to all of our schools and our students. So I would say, I go back to experiences. It's about getting more experiences. Now we're back face to face and trying to get those kids more experiences in authentic learning areas. So it's not just sitting with a book and writing something down, but really actively learning and engaging in that would be the best thing. The state has done a great job of providing funds for additional learning opportunities, whether it's summer school, after school, et cetera, that our schools have taken advantage of, and are putting in programs to try to help. I hate using the word catch up. That's not really something we can do very well, but give them more opportunity for growth now that they're back face to face.
When I came to Muskegon, I was dismayed. I went to a high school of 3,600 kids. And in Muskegon, there were only about 3 districts that had 3,600 kids, period. Consolidation seems to be, I think now there is, I guess, in terms of like transportations, there's been some of that. But I think that in terms of scale, that you can do a lot more with consolidation. Can you comment either on what's being done? I know, for example, substitutes were once handled by each school district and now is handled by MSD, and other things, I believe transportation. Can you comment on that?
That was a lot in one question. In terms of consolidation, that's always a talking point in the county, but no community wants to lose their public school. That's a hub for that community in many cases. So it's difficult. I would say the same could be true for government. How many townships, city halls, et cetera, do we have that could be consolidated to save on funds or make things more efficient? And that's not just government, that's just one example. So it's not just schools that should think that way. We do at the ISD think about how we can help in the county and make things more efficient for our schools. So we, as a service organization, we run things for schools because it's cheaper, maybe more efficient for us to do that than having each school to do that themselves. Power School as an example, we run that for the county. Every school uses it. We run that so it saves some money and makes it more efficient. Our financial system, we don't do transportation, but we do a lot of consolidation around training, around educational and curriculum that happens in the county. So that's some examples of how we help as an organization. But the state does provide some grant dollars to have discussions around consolidation, but it's really difficult to get that conversation going in local school districts.
Hey, Randy, thank you. A little emotional with the Reese Puffer thing being on it for 22 years. College credits and advanced placement, percentage wise of Muskegon County schools that participate. And I'm sitting next to Bill from Muskegon Community College. So I know Puffer, we had a certain pretty high percentage. Roughly, do you have some ideas of? Because I think that's
Kurt,
awesome.
idea? Yeah, I was gonna say about, I was gonna say about 40, but it varies by school district, but I do know that the options have increased over the years. You mentioned the dual enrollment. Schools have done that for a long time. CTC offers credits, but there's also other ways students can get credits before they leave high school going into college. So I know the opportunities have increased. I don't have a number off the top of my head for you, sorry.
Like share a food service person or a transportation director. Excuse me, whatever that is. And I can tell you that's happening all around. We work in 3 different school districts, one for finance, one for bus, and one for food. There's also internal consolidation where you might have had 7 administrators back in the day. Now you've got 3 because they're doing other jobs. So consolidation is a word that a lot of times gets thrown out there and with a perceived message. There's lots of different ways to consolidate. And going back to what James said, you still have Wildcats and Muddy King. Yeah. So, okay. You threw my name out there.
Yeah. And go Cats. Yeah, right.
Randy, you did a beautiful job of telling the story of public education in Muskegon County. Long history, long future. And Jane has done a beautiful job this year, making us all aware of the importance of literacy in the community. Would you marry those two and talk about the wonderful value that the ISD is providing the schools in terms of literacy support?
Sure. Training alone, we do a lot of that for our schools. I would say the most recent thing I would point to is our literacy coaching model that we put in place. Our schools have worked together to put literacy coaches in almost every one of our districts through braided funding. We have state grant dollars. We have a foundation grant that we use. ISD puts in funds and schools put in funds. And we have 10 literacy coaches working out in districts each and every day that are having an impact. So that's one example of how together we have made that happen as public schools in the county. Well, I could go on and on for programs, but
Thank you.
thank you.
Randy, I'm going to, you will be a proxy giver to the Malala Fund. We're going to make a contribution in your name. I think this week is a very appropriate contribution. Thank you. And, birthdays. We have a few birthdays. John Selman is celebrating his birthday on the 13th, along with Marika Dobry and Mark Essenbart on the 14th, and Susan Crane and Don Kalis on the 15th. Don's here. Who else is here that wants to give us our birthday presents? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Well, that was a very profitable birthday for us. Thank you. Those $10 gifts go to our Caring Connection. That fund is designed to give a little support to any of our members who are facing any kind of illness or difficulty. Next, we are going to go to our member spotlight. We take this time in the program to single out one of our members to find out who they are and what they do when they're not here. And this week, we are featuring Pat Walstra.
My name is Pat Walstra. I joined Rotary actually back in 2006 when I was the Community Education Director and Assistant Superintendent for Orchard View Schools. And it was a phenom in the community. It was an excellent opportunity to join a club that kind of aligned with all of our missions in the schools and nonprofit. And it was a pleasure for me to be able to join the group. I currently reside in the village of Fruitport on a hobby farm with my husband, Marty. We've been married, just celebrated 37 years. We decided we'll go one more. Well, why not? We're in it for the long haul. We have 2 great adult kids with Dr. Addison, who is a chiropractor in North Muskegon. And then we have our son who resides and works full-time in the city of Grand Rapids. So I moved here to the Muskegon area in 1982 to accept a job actually working with the Michigan Piney Dunes Girl Scout Council, running their outdoor camp and all of their programs, and then have made Muskegon my home ever since then. And now I retired from Orchard View in 2015, and I accepted a position with Kent Intermediate School District, and I am the Region 4 adult education consultant for West Michigan. I love working with youth. I love the fact that Rotary is really nurturing and fostering the leadership for our young people through our Interact clubs. I also love the fact that there's diversity and inclusion because we all know in our world, in our community, and in the business that I work in, that's very, very important. And then I have to say that, you know, the whole mantra of love lives here in the Muskegon area takes a village. And we've found, especially in the schools and especially the people who represent in Rotary, that it does take a village and love does need to live here for us to move forward in Muskegon.
It is now time for us to be wax poetic.
This microphone's been adjusted a lot today. First of all, I'd like to start out by thanking everyone who has participated in this contest. The money that was raised through this, the $2,000, will go to Polio Plus. So a good effort for a good cause. And thank you to everyone. And as a little precursor to our usual March Madness contest, we are down to our final four. And I have two able assistants here in the Poets Corner, Susan and Don. Oh, you're already here. Thank you. Sorry, you snuck up on me. But our final four participants are Susan Holkeber, Ryan Sturkenberg, John Noling, and Jenny McNeil. So we will start with the two that will be eliminated. Sorry. As a Michigan fan, I know how this feels. And Susan, you picked personification, and who do we say goodbye to? To Ryan Sturkenberg. Sorry, Ryan. So personification, hold on, I'll get to the right tab here. Personification is what it sounds like, a figurative language tool that gives ideas, objects, or animals human characteristics. Death is often personified as a malevolent and destructive force, especially with the Grim Reaper. So that gives you a little precursor. It's sort of ironic that 3 of the remaining poems all deal with death. So, okay, this is a poem by Emily Dickinson, Because I Could Not Stop for Death. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves in immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun. Or rather, he passed us. The dews drew quivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only tulle. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. So that is it on that one. Dr. Crandall. I know, well, see, I got to share the grief here.
John Nolan.
Oh, John, you hung in there. And your type of poetry is called an elegy. Hold on, got to get to 13, lucky 13. So, what is an elegy? An elegy is a poem that reflects upon death or loss. Traditionally, it contains themes of mourning, loss, and reflection. However, it can also explore themes of redemption and consolation. This poem is by Thomas Gray. It's called Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard. It is quite lengthy, so I will only share a little of it. The curfew tolls the knell of parting day. The lowing herd winds slowly o'er the lay. The plowman homeward plods his weary way and leaves the world to darkness and to me. Now fades the glimmering landscape on the sight, and on the air a solemn stillness holds, save where the beetle wills his droning flight and drowsy tinklings lull the distant folds. Save that from yonder ivy mantled tower, the moping owl does to the moon complain of such as wandering near her secret bower, molest her ancient solitary reign. Beneath those rugged elms, the yew trees shade, where heaves the turf and many a moldering heap, each in his narrow cell forever laid, the rude forefathers of the hamlet sleep. Okay, now for the good news. So who is our first winner, Susan? Susan Holkabor, congratulations to you. One of our two winners. And yours is then the very first one up there, which is blank verse. And this is, what is the difference between blank verse and free verse in poetry? Although their names are similar, blank verse and free verse are decidedly different. Blank verse is bound by a metrical pattern, almost always iambic pentameter. It has been an immensely popular form of English language poetry for centuries, spanning from the Shakespeare and Milton to Eliot and Frost. So your poem is the one that isn't about death. It is called The Mending Wall by Robert Frost. This is a little longer, so I'll only read part of it, but I have to get to the big thing. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen groundswell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun. It makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they have left not one stone on stone. But they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The gaps, I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time, we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some are loaves and some so nearly balls, we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game, one on a side. It comes to little more. There whereas is what we do not need the wall. He is all pine and I am all apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says, good fences make good neighbors. And our last winner.
The Honorable Jenny McNeil.
Oh, Jenny has had a good year. Congratulations, Jenny. And I knew everybody was avoiding this one. This is one I had not even heard of till I did this. It's called a villanelle. And apparently it's a long time type of poetry, but it was a new one to me. Villanelle. The Villanelle is a 19-line poem consisting of 5 tercets and a quatrain with a highly specified internal rhyme scheme of 2 repeating rhymes and 2 refrains. Repeat that back to me, everyone. And so our last poem that we will celebrate in this contest is by Dylan Thomas. And for all my fellow people that grew up in the 60s, remember that Dulcitory Philippic by Simon and Garfunkel? The man thinks you're talking about Dylan Thomas, whoever he is. The man ain't got no culture. This is a poem by Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle into that good night. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my Father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. The class is dismissed. Thank you all for your attention. And congratulations to our winners. Thank you.
That was a great contest. And after we do the basketball one, I'm going to pledge, why don't we start talking about a history one next? Just to complete our education, okay. We have announcements today. Mary Ann Gorman will come up and give an announcement. And while she's coming, I'll tell you that the new member social committee is having a gathering at the Muskegon Museum of History and Science on February 7th from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. And all of our new members, you will be receiving an invite, so watch your email. It's on its way. Mary Ann.
Thank you, Jane. First of all, I'd like to let you know that you're doing a great job bringing in new members. I've been chair of membership council and recruitment committee for about a year, and I can tell you we have a great committee, but it's really our membership that is doing the heavy lifting. How many of you in the room today have been admitted as new members in 2022? Just raise your hands. Great. Yeah. How many of you have sponsored members in the past year? Give yourselves a pat on the back. Okay, great. One of the goals that membership committee has is that we as a club really reflect the community that we serve. And to that end, an area that we're particularly interested in focusing on in the coming months is younger members. I had the experience of chatting with a prospective member as we were going through the buffet line. And he politely said, well, how long have you been in Rotary? And I said, well, I entered in 1991. And he said, that was the year after I was born. So one of our strategies is to do, it's not that funny. Yeah. One of our strategies is to reach out to other like-minded service organizations, particularly JCs. And I know a number of current Rotarians are prior JCs. Jim, Lisa, who else in the group remembers? Locksterman, Chris Colley, Jamie, wow. And some are still current, both. You have dual memberships. Emily, Brandon, yeah. So with board support, we're working on seeing if there are ways that we can work together with our Muskegon JCs. And coming up soon, on 2.5 weeks, is one of their major events, Snowfest. So I'm going to invite you to take a look on their website and see what are the ways that you could participate by attending, by playing. We're not all too old to do snowball volleyball or cornhole, and we all like chili. They're going to have a chili cook-off. And they're also going to have a link where we can help by volunteering. We have 230 plus members in our club. They have 46. And so they're going to have, and I will have Susan Bestman put it in the rim. The link, if you are so moved to help out by volunteering, that you can just go on that link and schedule yourself, pick a time that works for you, and enjoy our winter. As for me, 2 days after that, I'm going to Florida, but that's what us old folks do.
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Stay tuned. I wanted to point out that there's a lot of things that are happening in Muskegon County and among our membership. We don't have time to highlight all of them from the podium, but we invite you to use our back table to put your flyers, your sign-up sheets, to let the membership know what's going on in your corner of the world. We do have one more request, and that is from Alan Alpert. The rabbi is looking for more people who want to be offering reflections. He has a sign-up sheet right there on his lap. So if you are inclined to offer reflection, please see Alan before you leave. Next week, we have a very interesting program, one that is bound to teach you and inspire you. We're going to have one from the Rotary International Ukraine Relief Program. So don't miss that. And as we adjourn, let us rise and say the four-way test. Oh, raffle! Yep. Okay, wait a minute. You see, I was so embarrassed that I missed the four-way test last week that I made sure that it was going to get in. But we do have a raffle, and proceeds of which are going to Polio Plus. And I have another announcement having to do with the raffle, is that if anyone feels that their wallet is a little light, Josh found a bill on the floor, and if it's yours, come and get it after the raffle. Oh, good.
For $20, 876.
That's not fishy at all. No, that's not fishy. Uh-uh.
$10. 886. 886.
Didn't do me any good at all. Oh. Good job. And since we're talking about raffles, we should point out that the Rotary Foundation Annual Fund is promoting their 50-50 raffle, and Ginny Sprague has tickets for this. The ticket price is $20 each. The prizes are 30%, 20%, 15%, or 10% of the money earned. So the more tickets we buy, the bigger your prize. So see Ginny, $20 a piece. Okay. And now we can rise and say with full voice, the four-way test. Is it the truth? All concerned. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all concerned?